Thank you all. Thank you, South Bronx. Let me thank Nacho Stevens, Erica Andiola, Luis Sepulveda, Judy Sheridan Gonzalez. Let me give a special thanks to Rosario Dawson, to Spike Lee, and to Residente. As you know, I am the very proud United States Senator from Vermont. But I am very proud that I was born here in New York City. That my wife was born in Brooklyn, New York. My father came to this country at the age of 17 from Poland without a nickel in his pocket. He never made much money. We lived in a 3.5-room rent-controlled apartment in Brooklyn. So I learned a little bit about what it means to grow up in a family that has no money. And I also learned a little bit about the immigrant experience. Those lessons I will never forget. What this campaign is about is creating a political revolution. And the 15,000 people who are here this evening, you are the heart and soul of this revolution. And what we are saying loudly and clearly is enough is enough. We want a government that represents all of us, not wealthy campaign contributors. We want a campaign finance system that is not corrupt. We want an economy that is not rigged. We want a criminal justice system that is not broken. We are determined that instead of spending trillions of dollars on a war in Iraq that we never should have gotten into, we are going to reinvest in the South Bronx and in communities all over this country. There is no reason in this country why people should be paying 40 or 50% of their limited incomes in housing. There is no reason why people should not have access to the health care that they need. There is no reason why in this country we should not have the best educational system in the world for all of our people. There is no reason why we should have the highest rate of childhood poverty of any major country on earth. There is no reason why we should have more income and wealth inequality than any other major country. What this campaign is about is telling Wall Street and the billionaire class they cannot, they will not have it all. We are going to create a nation in which our people have decent paying jobs, where our children are not unemployed, where our parents and grandparents can live with dignity on Social Security. And that is why we're going to raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour. It is why we are going to have pay equity for women. It is why we are not going to accept deteriorating inner cities, why we are going to build affordable housing, why we are going to rebuild our roads and our bridges and our water systems and our wastewater plants. And when we do that, we create 13 million decent paying jobs. In America today, we will not accept a situation where the top 1/10% now owns almost as much wealth as the bottom 90%. We will not accept a situation where the 20 wealthiest people own more wealth than the bottom half of America. We are going to create an economy that works for all of us, not just the people on top. In America, people should not have to work 2 or 3 jobs just to get by. And that after all of that, 58% of all new income goes to the top 1%. That's wrong. In this country, we can and will create a first-class public school educational system. I went to public schools in Brooklyn, New York. I had a good education, and I want every kid in this city and in this state to have a quality, good public education. And that means that instead of giving tax breaks to billionaires or fighting wars we should not be fighting, we're going to be investing in housing and education and health care. In this country, We should not be the only major nation on earth that does not guarantee paid family and medical leave. When a woman has a baby, she has the right to stay home with that baby, not have to go back to work. And when we are talking about women's rights, we are going to stand and make certain that every woman in this country has the right to control her own body. And we are going to stand with our gay brothers and sisters. And we are going to defend their right to be married. You know, a great nation is judged not by how many millionaires and billionaires it has. It is judged by how it treats the most vulnerable people in that country. I will not accept, and you will not accept, children in this country sleeping out on the streets. I will not accept, and you will not accept, senior citizens trying to get by on $11,000 or $12,000 a year Social Security. Instead of having a Congress that works for the benefit of the few, we are going to have a government that works for all of us. Now, I am a member of the committee that wrote the Affordable Care Act. And the Affordable Care Act has done some very good things. We've ended the so-called obscenity of pre-existing conditions. And we provided insurance to 17 million people who didn't have it. But we have much more to do in health care. The United States is the only major country on earth that does not guarantee health care to all people as a right. And together we are going to end that. 29 million Americans have no health insurance. Many of you are underinsured with large deductibles and co-payments. And the drug companies are ripping all of us off every single day. And after all of that, we end up spending much more per capita on health care than any other country on earth. We are prepared to take on the private insurance companies. We are prepared to take on the drug companies. And we are prepared to pass a Medicare for all single-payer program. In my view, something I believed my whole life, health care is a right of all people, not a privilege. We are prepared to reform in a major way a broken criminal justice system. It is an international embarrassment that we have more people in jail than any other country on earth. It is not unrelated that we have communities where young kids, white, black, Latino, Native American, are suffering unemployment rates of 30, 40, 50%. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to invest in education and jobs for our kids. Investment in education and jobs, not jails, not incarceration. And all of us are tired of seeing unarmed people shot and killed. Now, I've been a mayor for 8 years, and I've worked with police all over my state, all over this country. Vast majority of police officers are honest and hardworking. But if a police officer, like any other public official, breaks the law, that officer must be held accountable. We do not want to see in communities all over this country police departments look like occupying armies. We need to demilitarize our police departments. We need to make police departments reflect the diversity of the communities they serve. We need to end private corporate ownership of prisons and detention centers. We need to rethink the so-called war on drugs. Over the last 30 years, millions of Americans have been arrested for possession of marijuana. Today, marijuana is listed under the Federal Controlled Substance Act as a Schedule I drug, right alongside of heroin. That is pretty crazy. And that is why I have introduced legislation to take marijuana out of the Federal Controlled Substance Act. Now, this is not only the right thing to do, but it is also a major racial issue, because it turns out that the black community, the white community, possess smoked marijuana at about equal levels. Blacks are 4 times more likely to be arrested than whites. But let me say something else when we're talking about drugs. In my state and all over this country, we have a major epidemic of heroin addiction and opiate addiction. This is a very serious crisis. The way to deal with that crisis is to understand that drug addiction, substance abuse, must be dealt with as a health issue, not a criminal issue. When we talk about criminal justice reform, let me tell you a brief story. Turns out that Goldman Sachs, one of the large financial institutions, I gather you know about Goldman Sachs. Goldman Sachs recently received a $5 billion settlement with the United States government. And they reached that agreement because they were selling worthless packages of subprime mortgage loans. And they and the other Wall Street crooks were the people responsible for driving our economy into the worst recession since the Great Depression. Now here's a funny thing. Some kid gets picked up for smoking marijuana in Vermont or New York City. That kid gets a police record. But if you are an executive of a Wall Street firm, you don't get a criminal record for destroying this economy. You get a pay raise. Together, we will bring justice back to the criminal justice system. And equal justice under the law means that if you are rich or poor, you will pay the price if you break the law. That includes Wall Street. Let me say a word or two about some of the differences that exist between Secretary Clinton and myself. When we began this campaign, we had to make a choice, and the choice was, would we do what every other campaign is doing and establish a super PAC? We agreed with you. We decided after about 1/10 of a second thinking that we don't represent Wall Street, we don't represent corporate interest, we don't represent the billionaire class, we don't want their money. So what we did is reached out to working families all over this country. We have received now over 6 million individual campaign contributions. That is more contributions than any candidate in the history of this country up to this point. Anybody know what the average contribution is? That's right. $27. To paraphrase Abraham Lincoln at Gettysburg, this is a campaign of the people, by the people, and for the people. Secretary Clinton chose to go in another direction in terms of how she raised her funds. She has several super PACs. Her largest super PAC reported raising $25 million from special interests, including $15 million from Wall Street. Now, in addition to that, as some of you know, Secretary Clinton has given a lot of speeches on Wall Street behind closed doors. And she has received $250,000 a speech. Now, I kind of think that if you're going to get paid $250,000 for a speech, it must be a brilliant speech. It must be an earth-shattering speech. written in Shakespearean prose. And if that speech is so great, I think the American people have the right to hear it. Now, I don't know why, but I myself have not gotten an invitation to speak on Wall Street. Not for 250,000, not for 25,000, not for $2. They haven't invited me. But, you know, I got my cell phone on and I'm waiting for the call. And if it comes, this is what I would tell those people on Wall Street. I would tell them that their greed, their recklessness, and their illegal behavior has destroyed this economy, resulting in millions of Americans losing their jobs, their homes, and their life savings. I would tell them that they were bailed out by Congress against my vote because the big banks were too big to fail. But today, 3 out of the 4 largest banks are bigger now than they were when we bailed them out because they were too big to fail. And I would tell them that when you have a handful of financial institutions with so much economic and political power, now is the time to break them up. All of you know that learning and growing intellectually is a part of who we are as human beings. And all of you know that we live in a competitive global economy where we need the best educated workforce on earth. Now, 50 years ago, if you had a high school degree, you were doing pretty well, and the likelihood is you can go out and get a good job and make it in the middle class. But the economy and the world and technology have changed. And that is why I believe that when we talk about public education today, it is not good enough just to talk about first grade through 12th grade. We need to make public colleges and universities tuition free. You know, my mother and father never went to college, but I want every kid in the South Bronx, and I want every kid in America who is in the 4th grade, the 6th grade, freshmen in high school, I want them to know that if they take school seriously, they study hard, they do their work in school well, I want them to know that they will be able to get a college education regardless of the income of their family. And together we're going to reduce this very high load of student debt that millions of people have. We should not be punishing people for getting an education. We should be rewarding people. And that is why we have legislation in that would allow people with student debt to refinance their loans at the lowest interest rates they can buy. Now, I have been criticized for this. It's unrealistic. It's too expensive. Let me tell you how we are going to pay for this. When Wall Street's greed destroyed our economy, the middle class bailed them out. Now it is Wall Street's time to help the middle class. And that is why we're going to impose a tax on Wall Street speculation. Now, another difference between Secretary Clinton and myself is the issue of foreign policy. I listened to what George W. Bush had to say in 2002. I didn't believe him. I voted against the war in Iraq. Secretary Clinton, then U.S. Senator from New York, heard the same information. She voted for the war in Iraq. I have opposed every one of these disastrous trade agreements, NAFTA, permanent normal trade relations with China, that have cost us millions of decent paying jobs. Secretary Clinton has supported virtually all of them. So we've got some very real differences. This campaign is listening to our brothers and sisters in the Latino community. And what they are telling me is that with 11 million undocumented people in this country, they are tired of living in the shadows, tired of being exploited, tired of living in fear. They want, and I want, comprehensive immigration reform and a path towards citizenship. And if Congress does not do its job, I will use all of the executive powers of the presidency in order to make that happen. This campaign is listening to our brothers and sisters in the African American community. And they are tired of having their kids go to broken down, inadequate schools. They are tired of sky-high unemployment rates. They are tired of their kids breathing filthy air and getting asthma. They are tired of paying half of their income for housing. They want, and I want, major investments in inner cities throughout this country. And by the way, when we rebuild our housing stock, when we build affordable housing, when we rebuild our roads and bridges and water systems, we create millions of good-paying jobs. I am a member of the U.S. Senate Committee on the Environment. I have talked to scientists all over our country, all over the world. The debate is over. Climate change is real. It is caused by human activity. It is already doing devastating harm to this country and countries throughout the world. Together, we must have and accept the moral responsibility of leaving this planet in a way that is healthy and habitable to our children and our grandchildren. And together, we will take on the fossil fuel industry. We will transform our energy system to sustainable energy and energy efficiency. Brothers and sisters, we live in the wealthiest country in the history of the world, but very few people know that. And the reason they don't know that is almost all of the new income and wealth goes to the top 1%. All of you know that the history of real change in America never takes place from the top on down. It always takes place from the bottom on up. "100 years ago or more, when workers were being treated like animals, working 7 days a week, had no rights on the job, could be fired arbitrarily, workers came together, formed trade unions, and began to negotiate contracts and working conditions. For hundreds of years, African Americans and their allies stood up and fought back against racism, segregation, and bigotry. We don't know how many of them died, were lynched, were beaten. But people by the millions said that in America, we will not continue to have a racist society. A 100 years ago, not a long time, women in this country did not have the right to vote, did not have the right to get the education or the jobs they wanted. But women and their male allies stood up and said, women in America will not be second-class citizens. If we were here 10 years ago, and somebody jumped up and said, you know, I think gay marriage will be legal in 50 states in this country, person next to him would have said, you are nuts. But as a result of the struggle of the gay community for decades against incredible bigotry and hatred, and with the support of the straight community, gay marriage today is legal in 50 states. If we were here 5 years ago, no time at all, somebody jumps up and says, Bernie, this $7.25 federal minimum wage is a starvation wage. We've got to raise it to $15 an hour. Person next to her would have said, $15 an hour? You're doubling the minimum wage. That is nuts. You can't do it. You got to go to $8, $9 an hour, not $15 an hour. But people in the fast food industry, people in McDonald's and Burger King and Wendy's went out on strike. They stood up, they fought back, and you know what happened? Seattle, Los Angeles, San Francisco, $15 an hour. Oregon, California, $15 an hour. And if I have anything to say about it, and if elected president, I will, $15 an hour in every state in this country. Here is my point. Real change takes place, not when some president signs a bill or the Supreme Court makes a decision. Real change takes place when millions of people look around them and they say, you know what? The status quo is unacceptable. The exploitation of workers, unacceptable. Racism, unacceptable. Sexism, unacceptable. Homophobia, unacceptable. And we can do better. And where we are right now is a pivotal moment in our history. And all over this country, people are looking around them and they're saying, you know what? We should not have more income and wealth inequality than any other country. We should not have the highest rate of childhood poverty of any major country. We should not have our people working 2 or 3 jobs to survive economically. We should not have women earning 79 cents on the dollar. We should not have young people leaving school $50,000 or $100,000 in debt. We should not have a crumbling infrastructure. We should not be the only major country on earth that does not guarantee health care to all or paid family and medical leave. And people all over this country are looking around and they're saying establishment politics and establishment economics, the same old, is not working. And that is what this campaign is about. What this campaign is about is telling you that no president, not Bernie Sanders or anybody else, can address these issues alone. We need millions of people to stand up, make a political revolution. And create a government that works for all of us. It will not be an easy fight. I know that. Wall Street has unlimited sums of money. The insurance companies will do everything they can to prevent us from going forward. Fossil fuel industry, more worried about their short-term profits than the future of our planet. Corporations wanting to destroy public schools in America. I understand all of that. I understand it, and you understand it. But together, we are not going to duck away from this fight. We are going to defend our kids and our parents and our grandparents. In a month or so, this state, on April 19th, this state will be having a very important primary. If there is a large voter turnout, we will win. And if we win here in New York, we are going to make it to the White House. So I urge all of you to come out and vote. Bring your aunts and your uncles and your friends and your neighbors. Let's win in New York. Let's take this fight to the White House. Thank you all.